In the air, wings mean speed. Wings create lift. Wings have enabled man to break the sound barrier. Their design is an exact science. The new challenge: combine wings with wheels to move faster over the ground by applying the science of aerodynamics to racing. The symbol of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, used in 1911 at the first 500, was prophetic. When racing machines sprout wings, they grow in every direction and from every part of the car. Their function is the same as an airplane wing, in reverse. As a result, the airfoil creates down thrust instead of lift. The effect is to add 1,000 pounds of down thrust without adding actual weight. This additional effective weight is not essential to speeds on the long straightaways and actually is a disadvantage because of increased drag. It's in the turns where it really counts. The United States Auto Club test pilots report it has the effect of gluing the machine to the track. They can drive deeper into the turns, the lifting of the throttle only momentary, a fraction of a second. There is something else new at the Speedway this year: yellow lights with numbers. Safety is always a primary concern. A near-tragic experience in last year's 500 brought an innovation entirely new to racing. Its purpose: to effectively slow the field if an accident occurs during the race, and thus give a better margin of safety to the drivers and the emergent crews. Chief Steward Harlan Spengler explains.
This says our number is 5. All right, we're legal. Now, we don't want to get to this next panel until it shows on the light panel. You can tell when it's going to change by those 3 lights at the top. All right, we're still running at the proper speed. Now, these lights will be set at about 90 miles an hour in order to maintain a constant speed while we're running under the yellow. At the moment, the lights are synchronized at 80 miles an hour.
The machines are newly designed, but many will be driven by experienced veterans. The Coyote chassis, built by 3-time winner A.J. Foyt. The Eagle, created by Dan Gurney. Driven by Bobby Unser and mechanicked by Wayne Leary. Racing Super Team, captained by former winner Parnelli Jones, with Al Unser, Mario Andretti, and Joe Leonard in the cockpits. 2 former winners and the defending national champion. Mark Donohue is making his 4th attempt at the 500. Mark has as his teammate Gary Bettenhausen. They all pilot 2 Offie-powered McLarens owned by Roger Penske. Early in the 2 weeks of practice before qualifications, it's apparent the wings are working and speed records will fall. After only a few hours of practice, driver Jim Malloy tops the track record by 2 miles an hour, 181.4. Then, Bobby Unser ups the average to almost 183. 12 days of high-speed practice, and so far it was a no-hitter. No car had made contact with the wall. But on the 13th day, Lee Brayton got the first hit. Running flat out all the way around the 2.5-mile track never gives the engine a rest. And this extreme punishment exacted its toll. Over 60 engines either flew apart or were damaged to the point of rebuilding. Mechanics are busy around the clock healing sick engines. A racing power plant will average $30,000 in cost and develop ideally almost 1,000 horsepower. Time grows short, and there can be no delay in getting a car back on the track for practice. As the first day of qualifications nears, practice speeds go higher and higher. Mario Andretti, 185.299. Billy Vukovich, 186.567. Gordon Johncock, 187.227. Al Unser, 187.442. Jim Malloy, 188.048. Mark Donohue, 188.363. A.J. Foyt, 189.553. Mike Mosley, 190.5. Gary Bettenhausen, 191. Track record holder Peter Evson with 191.1. The fastest man in Indianapolis is Bobby Unser in the Olsenite Eagle. His top practice speed, 194.721. 15 miles an hour faster than the official record of a year ago. The tires are better, the chassis improved, the engine stronger, but it's the wings that make the Eagle fly. Thunder showers early in the day on May 13th make it doubtful qualifications will get underway. But if you're an ardent race fan and it rains, you make the best of it. 3 minutes before the first day deadline, A.J. Foyt finally takes the green flag. Going into the second turn, his turbocharger lets go, and the day ends with no qualifiers. The next morning, with a dry track, the cars roar out of the pits for some practice laps. And a spin help reduce the force of Steve Krizelov's impact against the outer wall. By contrast, Jim Malloy hits it head-on at almost 190 miles an hour. Jim passed away 4 days later, the first fatality at Indianapolis in 4 years. Finally, qualifications get underway, and the first driver out, Billy Vukovich in number 3. The qualification test is 4 laps, total 10 miles. Vukovich sets a new track record in the first lap. The second, spins and slides into the wall. And still, we don't have that first qualifying. Car number 1, driven by the number 1 driver on the championship trail, Joe Leonard. Diving into the turns at 185 miles an hour, Pelican Joe drifts smoothly within inches of the outside wall.
And track record, 48 and 40 seconds in the speed 185.950 miles an hour. Joe Leonard.
Next driver out, Mario Andretti.
And it's a new track record. Mario Andretti, 47 and 6800 seconds, 47.68, and the speed 188.758 miles an hour for Mario Andretti.
Gary Bettenhausen, determined to make this his year.
It's a new track record, 47 and 50 seconds, 47.50, one lap speed 189.474.
Bobby Unser, the man who could do it all.
You won't believe it. It's a new track record, 46 and 1700 seconds. A new track record for the Olsenite Eagle, 194.932. And it's still going up. 45 and 9100 seconds. The speed, 196.036 miles an hour for Bobby Unser. And it's still going up. 45 and 7600 seconds speed for the Olsenite Eagle, 196.678, a new track record.
The pole car's speed is up 17 miles an hour in a single year. Bobby Unser's average, 195.940. Peter Revson and Mark Donohue join Unser in the front row, and every driver in the field of 33 went faster than last year's pole car. If it doesn't rain in Indianapolis on race day, it's a happy crowd that gathers for the annual speed spectacle. The bands play better, the colors are brighter, and 300,000 people are in a cheerful mood. Drivers take the opportunity to get some last-minute relaxation while the crews prepare for the start. Race cars, sparkling clean, are rolled onto the starting grid. The time grows short, and the driver's relaxation is over. Now thoughts are concentrated on the business at hand. Cars begin to roll. The first row, the second row, the third row and fourth row. All the machines are moving, except one. A.J. Foyt's engine won't start. The field moves down the main straightaway for the pace lap, and Foyt is still not started.
As they come down this main stretch, ladies and gentlemen. The fastest field in history. Here they are at the starting line.
Number 31 pulls into the pits. Trouble already? No. John Mailer forgot his driving gloves. A flying pickup, and he is back in the field. Foyt's engine finally roars to life. But the green flag has fallen, and the 32 other cars zoom past, putting Foyt far back in traffic. Pole setter Bobby Unser takes the lead on the first turn and begins to stretch it out. Saul Walther in car 33 assures himself a 33rd position, dropping out with mechanical trouble on the first lap. The Olsenite Eagle continues to widen the margin over second place Mark Donohue. Peter Revson in number 12 is third. A wheel-to-wheel duel develops between teammates Mark Donohue in number 66 and Gary Bettenhausen in number 7. The wings are proving their value in competition. There is no longer a single groove through the turns, and the drivers can duel anywhere on the track. In only 20 laps, Jerry Grant in number 48 moves up from 15th position to 6th. Peter Revson slows and drives into the infield on the 23rd lap, and after a long walk back to the pits, becomes a spectator. The leader, Bobby Unser, is slowing through turn 4. He coasts into the pits with a dead engine. An inspection later revealed that the distributor rotor, one of the machine's most inexpensive parts, had broken. And Unser's bid for his second Indianapolis win is over. With Unser out of the race, Gary Bettenhausen in the Sunoco McLaren takes over the lead. Teammate Donohue keeps up the pace and keeps Gary well in sight. Mike Mosley in number 98 is running a very close third. Foyt has moved from last place to 18th when smoke begins to billow from his engine. Leaving a smoke screen behind him, he pulls into the pits. The crew attempts to make repairs, but to no avail. Foyt's bid for an unprecedented 4th Indy victory is over at 61 laps. For the race leader, Bettenhausen, a pit stop. Time in the pits cuts his lead, and Mike Mosley is breathing right down his back. Mike passes Gary and takes the lead. Three laps later, Mosley loses a wheel in the number 4 turn. He crashes into the outside wall, and the car bursts into flames. Following cars give him a wide berth. Mosley bails out and frantically tries to extinguish the flames on his racing uniform. Firemen rush to his aid. Mike is burned, but not critically. It's the 3rd time in 2 years Mike has crashed at Indianapolis and at the same place on the track. The green flag comes out, and Bettenhausen leads for the 2nd time. Two other teammates, Mario Andretti and USAC champion Joe Leonard, stage a duel for 5th spot. A new rule makes 4 pit stops mandatory. Pit crews must work at top speed. Just a few seconds standing still while the rest of the cars are going 180 miles an hour can give you a lot of catching up to do. And at times, the pits become a veritable traffic jam. Fuel begins to be a major concern. With the limit of 325 gallons, there is a possibility that some cars will not make the full 500 miles. A miscalculation on Jim Hurtubise' fuel consumption puts him on the sidelines. Mario Andretti in number 9 runs out of fuel on the backstretch and barely manages to coast into the pits. With the help of his crew, he makes it and takes on a fresh tank full. Gordon Johncock, after working his way up to 3rd place, comes in spewing a cloud of steam. Just past the halfway point, 15 cars have been sidelined, nearly half the field. A few laps later, Lee Kunzman joins the railbirds. Wally Dallenbach makes a pit stop, and for the 3rd time, his Lola catches on fire. Gary Bettenhausen has led all but 7 laps since Bobby Unser dropped out. But now, something seems to be wrong. He's going very slowly through the number 3 turn. Jerry Grant seizes the opportunity and charges through traffic to take over the lead. Mark Donohue, who has been running within seconds of Grant through most of the race, now begins to battle Grant for the lead. Debris on the track brings out the yellow briefly, and Donohue dives into the pits for a 5th pit stop. With a 33-second stop, and Jerry Grant running at only 80 miles an hour under the yellow, Mark loses less than a quarter of a lap. Grant also comes in unexpectedly, but the green is already out. Fuel hoses are connected and tires changed. After 53 seconds in the pits, he sees Donohue flash by just as he pulls onto the track over 1 lap behind. A spin in the South Chute. Rookie of the Year Mike Hiss hangs on to it and keeps right on going. The checkered flag falls for number 66 as Donohue completes his 200th lap. Donohue's crew celebrates the victory. And after 4 years of trying, the young engineer from Pennsylvania moves into victory lane. Jerry Grant's final pit stop proves to be more disastrous than anticipated. The fuel hoses from teammate Bobby Unser's tanks were connected to his machine. This illegal fueling disqualified his 2nd place finish and moved him to 12th. Al Unser, winner the last 2 years, was awarded 2nd. Teammate Joe Leonard 3rd. The average speed for the winner, 162.962. A new record for racing's only $1 million event.